Hey everyone, this is Justin Kindle, the editor of Brewbound, and I'm in my 455 square foot studio apartment in Watertown, Massachusetts, and I'm joined by a social distance via Google Hangout by John Dantzler, the co-founder and CEO of New York's Torch and Crown Brewing Company. John, you've been out making deliveries. I think you tweeted that you made 50 deliveries yesterday.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah, it's been busy, and it's been kind of, you know, a time when everyone's out, everyone's doing anything we can to um, you know to keep ourselves alive and to keep moving forward.
What's the response been like from the people that you're delivering beer to? And how's that
It's been
process? Like
awesome.
how are you staying safe while you're doing that?
Yeah, so we are just over sanitizing everything. Fortunately, as a brewer, we have access to all sorts of chemical grade, sanitizers, and so from when beer is being pulled out of our own cold box and into when it's being put into bags, and sort of at every step along the process. Our delivery people actually even keep portable spray bottles of isopropyl alcohol right in their car to be able to spray themselves down before and after. So that's obviously, these are pretty crazy times, and everyone's health has to be our focus, both our own people, as well as the people that we're interacting with. So we've had, a lot of the time, wherever possible, we like to keep a social distance while checking ID, and while we like to kind of, hopefully put the bag down and take a step back, and allow it to be picked up without much contact. But that's the name of the game right now. But the reception, both to how seriously we're taking the sanitation and general health part of things, but also just that we're out there, um, putting ourselves out there to serve our city and to bring them what's hopefully a slice of normalcy in these frankly pretty shitty times, has been awesome to see. There's been a lot of gratitude. People really excited to get a beer delivery. Hopefully that's brightening up people's lives who are stuck in their apartments and not able to do a lot.
Yeah, well, you're in the city that's been the hardest hit by this coronavirus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
so tell me a little bit, jumping off that, how I want to quantify how big of an effect this has had on your business. So when those stay-at-home orders go into effect, when the basically the entire on-premise gets shut down, and you've also done contract brewing for other brewers, how much of an effect has this had on Torch and Crown?
It's been massive. It's been, close to zero overnight. As a contract brewery, our job, for a lot of our clients, is kind of handling their excess capacity needs. So we have a lot of small breweries who come to us for larger batches that go out to distribution. And as on premise has shut down 100% here in the city, and close to 100% throughout the country. Distributors are canceling or are cutting their orders, which means most of our contract clients who have small breweries are able to handle the sort of little volume that they're doing, and they don't need us anymore. So our contract business has gone straight to zero. And we're also, for our own brand, our own self distribution here in the city. We thought it was important, kind of in the lead up to our opening our Soho brewery and restaurant, which I'm currently standing in, which is still the tail end of a construction site, not yet open to the public. In the lead up to that, we thought it was really important to um, make ourselves part of the city experience. And in order to do that, we've targeted on premise mostly. A lot of the kind of bars, restaurants, and places that make up the city's social life, that we feel we feel contribute to the vibrancy and the energy of the city, that we love. Um, and that's been great for us. It was a great last year. It's been a great first few months of the year, but unfortunately, it leaves us uniquely exposed to when on premise is 100% shut down across the city. That's hit most of our business, and so we had to adapt very quickly in order to stay alive, in order to take care of our city, but equally important to take care of our own staff.
So delivering beer has really been a lifeline for your business so far.
Yeah, it has. It's definitely not going all the way towards. It's not replacing. We had a pretty large contract operation up in the Bronx, and it's certainly not replacing all of that, but it's making a very meaningful impact. And I actually just a couple hours ago had kind of a State of the Union with our entire team, and we talked through how things, what the outlook is, and the short answer is that yes, it's been a lifeline for us, and it's enabled us to not have to seriously consider any layoffs or other kind of drastic measures that a lot of breweries are very unfortunately having to do right now. We've made it a core tenet of our business from the beginning, from our first outside employee, outside Joe and I, that we offered a top pay package and fully funded, fully paid health insurance, and a pretty good plan to take care of our people. That's been our core focus throughout, and our people need us now more than ever. And so we're going to do whatever it is we can, to take care of our team. And if that means I'm out driving all around the city, hitting 50 deliveries in a day, then I'm definitely going to be doing that. And I've been fortunate to have an amazing team, a team of fighters, alongside me, who are out there, who are doing the same. And so it's been incredible to see the city's support for our team, for our kind of vision, what we're doing. It's been, we're so grateful for every person that chooses to order beer, because it's keeping us alive. But it's been, the city's been kind of rallying around us, and we hope rallying around the other establishments who are offering to go services, because it's a meaningful thing that helps us keep paying our people, and helps us support our own team.
As a young company, you've definitely got, and your Wall Street background, you've definitely got a business plan set. What has this done to that plan?
Obliterated it. It's up in smoke.
Yeah.
The funny thing actually is that we've always had eyes towards launching a direct-to-consumer platform in kind of a larger way than just selling cans out the front door. And that lines up with why we're doing what we're doing. We're here, right in the heart of the city, right downtown in Soho, right off Sixth Ave here, to bring beer, to bring our craft process, and kind of why we're so passionate about this, right to the heart of the city, and right to people's, to get face to face with people. And so our physical location and the immersive experience that we'll provide goes a long way towards that. But we've always wanted to be able to serve, to bring it right to people's doorsteps. And so, that's something that we had been ideating through. We've been kind of in the early stages of going through the sort of compliance channels and things like that to get that program up and running. But frankly, we hadn't done much more than that, and that was something that was probably on the sort of on the 1 to 3 year time horizon. And so once everyone shut down, and once the state liquor authority made the decision which we're incredibly grateful for, to allow breweries to sell, to deliver and have to go sales. We scrambled to build what really should have taken us a year to build, in all the kind of the back end technology and the operational plans and all that kind of stuff, in basically 48 hours. And
Wow.
again, we have such an awesome team here that when that happened, that went into effect. I guess last weekend it went into effect. It was announced on Friday, and so from Friday to Sunday, my team was literally up all night, doing virtual whiteboard sessions and putting together the technology. Chris, our marketing director, has become our de facto CTO as well. He actually built the website himself because we didn't even have time to outsource anything. Um, and by from Friday, building routes, building operational plans, getting kind of all the resources that we needed together, and going through what we thought the pitfalls would be, what we thought the problems we would run into were, and how do we put a plan in place to solve those. It was really 48 to 72 hours that we did that, and by Tuesday morning we went out and we hit it hard. And that I think speaks volumes to how just incredibly talented my team is. I'm really fortunate to work alongside these people, but two, that they're fighters. And we quickly realized this is what we needed to do to stay alive. And there were no questions. There were no hey, can you handle that? I don't really want to. It was everyone was rolled up their sleeves and got right to work. And I'm incredibly I'm thrilled to work alongside these talented and you know um, aggressive people.
What's the sense you get as far as maintaining these looser laws? Is this going to be something that sustains even after this is over?
I hope so. Um, it Obviously distributors do whatever they can, lobbying wise, to fight breweries having power. They basically wrote the laws after prohibition, and they've historically had the most power over um, over sort of what gets actually enacted. But the trend we've seen in the last 5 years has been moving the balance of power back from solely in the hands of the distributors to allow producers a little bit more freedom. And I'm hopeful that will the state will take a long hard look after this is all over and say this was a good thing.
Mhm.
um, and I would say cautiously optimistic. In general, these things definitely don't happen overnight, but I would be thrilled. I think it would help a lot of small breweries, to get our product out into the market, who maybe are right now. We're fortunate to have full control over our brand as a self-distributing brewery, but there are a lot of other small breweries who felt they had no choice but to go through a wholesaler and are kind of stuck in the bottom of those wholesalers' portfolios right now. And I think it would give those businesses a tremendous amount of freedom and of I guess ability to self-sustain, by allowing them this different route to market.
I'm sure that that's something that the guild is probably working on already.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so. I think right now it's full on survival mode. Honestly, it's providing resources, and our both our city and our state guilds have really stepped up and done an incredible job. I can't say enough good things about Paul Leone up at the New York State Brewers Guild. He's sending twice daily updates on legislation being put through, on kind of resources, on if you do have to lay people off, here's how you do it, and different things like that I think are helping out a lot of people, because we're fortunate to be in a position where I guess we're you know have a little bit more control in our hands, or at least we think we do. But there are a lot of breweries out there that are having to make really, really difficult decisions. And to have our guild and to have Paul to help guide them through it has been pretty great.
One of the reasons I asked you on here was you had a Twitter thread going about a week ago calling for direct action to help small businesses. Can you walk us through why what the Fed has done so far, which I think you described as deploying their 2009 playbook, why that doesn't translate to what's happening in 2020?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in general, and we're starting to see a shift here. But in general, I think as we navigated out of the last crisis, it was almost entirely incumbent on the Fed and the FOMC to, I guess, to deploy the heavy arsenal to change things there. And so, that worked well when it was, I guess, the risk was that it was a systemically important industry, which the financial industry in '09 obviously was at the verge of collapsing, and so coming in and taking these measures to give the banks better access to capital to help shore up their balance sheets, and then also start deploying, essentially create dollars, throw dollars into the market by their open market actions, deploying their treasury purchases. That was enough to sort of to stabilize us in the past. But the crisis that we're currently facing is completely a horse of a different color. And that is that it's not specific to one industry, but the risk here is that our economy just comes to a full halt. And I think if you think of the economy as sort of a self-sustaining machine, as commerce happens, wages are paid, which disposable income is then sent back out, is then spent. It's sort of, if you think kind of as workers are paid and then sort of continue to perpetuate that cycle. That's really what keeps us running. And for all of that to stop, it's not a question of just one quarter being missed. It's a question of everything stopping and not being able to start again. And so, because of that, I think we need much more direct action, rather than sort of taking just actions in the open market and allowing them to filter through.
What does that
So,
direct action look like?
well, I think
Or what
this
should it look
is.
like?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are some stimulus bills, or I guess, being argued right now, that are making their way through. But I mean, I think even just the actions, even what's been happening in the market today, as this bill, as this bipartisan bill comes closer to a reality, I think shows that the market, I guess, agrees with that we need direct action to companies. If you think about kind of the I guess peak to trough here, we're down. U.S. equities are down about 35%. That's not just a worry of a quarter or two lost. That's a worry of kind of this situation of all small businesses coming to a halt and not being able to restart. And this stimulus bill, I think, gives a lot of people a fighting chance. And we see the markets reacting really positively. We're up 9% today, based on that. So, getting into what that should actually look like, it should be targeting fast actions that can be deployed to companies, but with a vision of hitting labor ultimately. And so, what I mean by that, just giving a bunch of companies giving companies a bunch of money kind of works on a small scale. If someone hands me a check, I'm going to take care of my people. But I think the larger companies that are beholden to shareholders, I guess have proven in the past that often that's not what happens. Often, management teams feel that they're creating more value by initiating share repurchases or anything like that, rather than boosting payroll. And so I think the actions right now need to allow businesses to continue payroll. And so I think the bill that's making its way through the House right now, which I've read front to back, is a pretty good proxy for what I was talking about. It enables 36-hour window, either loans given kind of through an SBA facility, but loans that are forgivable if it's proven that they go towards payroll. And so that incentivizes companies to use the money the right way. That ultimately, so it allows companies to stay alive, and it allows companies to sustain their workers. And those are the two key checkpoints as far as I'm concerned. People still need to be getting paid. We still need, there's a tremendous amount of just wage destruction happening at the moment, and that needs to be quelled by allowing, by ensuring that this money flows through payroll. But at the same time, we need to make sure that workers have a job to come back to when businesses are allowed to open again. And so these sort of forgivable loans that again are forgivable if you're able to prove that the loans go towards payroll and go towards sort of the I guess customary business expenses, rent, debt service, so on. If you're able to prove that, then it's essentially a grant from the government to get you through this. I think that's the right idea, and I'm hopeful that will pass that.
There was talk in New York that tax deferment wouldn't be an option for the state's brewers. How big of a deal would tax deferment be for your business? And I guess I guess that's the question. How big of a difference would that make?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it wouldn't make a huge difference. New York State did not defer sales tax, but they did announce no penalties for late payments. So that is kind of deferring without deferring. And that's definitely, I think, a good thing for businesses. It's tantamount to an interest-free loan, being able to, especially sales tax, which businesses collect sales tax with every transaction, and then typically keep it in a separate account and aren't really able to touch that money because they know that it needs to be paid to the government either monthly or quarterly. And so enabling businesses to dig into that account would be huge for a lot of them. For my business personally, since our tap room isn't open yet, sales tax is only collected at the retail level, or at the customer level, I should say. So, we, by just selling to bars and restaurants, there's no sales tax applied on that. So, it wouldn't help us personally, but I think for a lot of retail businesses, bars, restaurants, stores, it would help tremendously. And I guess I was very dismayed to see that it was not passed, or that we had a March 20 deadline here in New York, and I was upset to see that was no action was taken on that. I still hope that that tax will be forgiven. I think that would be the way to go. Ultimately, more loans for bars, restaurants is kicking the can down the road, and it's better than nothing. It'll give them a chance to dig out of the hole once revenue is coming in the door again. But at the same time, ultimately, I think just complete forgiveness in the form of or I think grants in the form of of sales tax forgiveness is the way to go, and would be most helpful.
Well, and there's it would have to be a speedy process on loans too, right? Because
Yeah, exactly.
you've even shared how long it took you to get your own SBA
Yes,
loan. So
yes,
I think you said 3 months.
yes, exactly. And that's I think what we're missing here, and I think that's what a lot of policy doesn't directly address. Whereas something like sales tax forgiveness is instant. This was money that you owed, you no longer owe it. That's it. Um, but the actual loan application process, because it is government related, which is traditionally very bureaucratic, takes a while. And yeah, we closed an SBA loan for a portion of this construction earlier last year. And so if you think about last year, it was great market conditions. We were sort of very low volatility. Everything was moving up. Rates were still low. We had, I myself have a background in this, in the financial side of things, and so was able to navigate that process somewhat efficiently. And we also had extremely helpful lenders, and it still took 3 months to close. So for right now, just announcing this, there was a big announcement that SBA, I guess that there would be more SBA funding available. That doesn't help someone who has to make payroll next week to enter that process and have to give all the documentation and just go through just a frustratingly bureaucratic process. They need to pay their people today. They need to pay rent this month. They need to pay utilities bills. There's a full list of expenses that aren't going anywhere, and that are immediate. And so I think the easiest way to do that is by looking at things that are or expense items that are easily provable. We all submit payroll reports because we pay payroll taxes. So the government just picking up payroll would be, whatever, essentially what let's say take the average of your last 3 months of payroll, and the government just pick that up. That's easily documented. It's easily provable, and could be embarked on very quickly, as opposed to underwriting a full loan. And sales tax forgiveness is the other thing. That's why those were the 2 points of what I was mentioning when I was shouting into the void on Twitter there. Because I think those are the most easily enacted, and will get money into companies' pockets, and most importantly into employees' pockets as quickly as possible, and will ensure that that jobs are available when we make it out of this thing, and will ensure that that employees don't you know I guess are still able to handle their own personal expenses, and are taken care of through this.
Well, I hope some of the industry trade groups were in the void and listening, and maybe taking some of your suggestions to heart, and
I hope so
forwarding
as well.
forwarding those on to lawmakers. So I know you got to
Yeah.
get back to it, John. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure you've got plenty of things to do now. So thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's obviously in times like this, we're looking at places like Brewbound to bring us information. You guys have been doing an incredible job with that, so keep that up as well. It's been your efforts are noticed. I think I speak for all of us on the brewery side of things, and really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. We really appreciate it.